now let's go to the second year of college.
Did
we talk about the first year enough?
Yeah, I think
okay.
I think we good.
All right, let's go to that second year.
You got something that you want to say?
No.
All right, second year. I guess by the second year, you feel a little more confident.
Definitely more confident. Regular starter. Got used to college and the pace. You know how people always talk about the sophomore slump? Mm-hmm. I didn't have that.
Man, we was just so different because I slumped out, man. You talking about volleyball?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I did have a slump. Yeah.
And I feel like my slump was temporary. Like there was a few games in a row where I didn't perform well, but it wasn't like sophomore year was a bust.
So what would you consider performing well though in volleyball?
So at that point I was established outside. I wasn't playing middle anymore. So as an outside hitter, you want your numbers, hitting efficiency to be above like a 200. You want to be at least, because you get the ball majority of the time, at least like 3 kills a set. And then I was developing, becoming a 6 rotation player versus just a 3.
3, yeah.
So my numbers.
You understand that? Mm-mm. In regular volleyball, you got 3 up front, 3 down the back.
That's right.
So when you finish your rotation up front, she would come out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
To have somebody that's more defensive oriented play my back row because it's more defensive.
Understood.
So instead of rotating 3,
Yeah.
she'll rotate all 6, and she can
6,
just keep going around.
So I never came out.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was developing that. I still feel like I wasn't like yet in sophomore year, second year, but was working towards it. And my coaches told me after the season was over, went through sophomore year, all conference as a sophomore. They were like, the USA is reaching out to you to come try out for. I was like, what in the world? To be honest with you, I didn't know nothing about USA. I was like, but it wasn't until the summer, so it would have been going into my junior year. So you tried out in February, girls from all over, colleges everywhere come and try out. I walked in that gym in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I was like, what? And I was putting these girls that were the same age as me at these schools that were really good, like Stanford, Nebraska, USC, Tech, I was putting them on a pedestal. So I walked in the gym with these girls, and let me tell you, that's the first time I felt nervous and scared. I was like, how am I in the gym with these girls? I don't stand a chance. Like, I'm good at South Carolina. But
it shows though that you were that good, right?
Yeah, but at the time I really didn't think so.
It's crazy because you look at, I know kids nowadays, they look at everybody on TV like, dang, you play, let's say a football player looking at back then it was the Adrian Petersons or whoever it may be, receiver, Jerry Rises, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And but when you finally get to meet them, like, you know what, they put in the same work, they make mistakes just like me. It's about, putting in the work and actually going out there and performing and doing it. So I feel you.
Yeah, I was nervous. So walked in, went through the tryout. I actually felt like I had a decent tryout. I thought I was going to do real bad because I was nervous and because those girls were just good. Like, they were just good. I'm like, oh my God, this is a dream come true, but I'm scared. So went through the tryout, finished that up. They said they would email us the results. So I was like checking my email every day.
How long it took you for you to get them?
Like 2 weeks.
That would have been
2 weeks. I was every day though, like just refreshing every 5 seconds. And then finally, the email came through. I remember the subject line. I forget what it said, but I was like, this is the email. And I told my friend, I was like, come to my room. I was like, I got the results. I don't want to open it yet. And so she came and clicked on it, and I closed my eyes. I remember I closed my eyes, and she was like, girl, you made it. And I was like, you got to be, I don't know how in the world I did, but I made the team.
Wow.
So how many people did they pick?
It was, so they made 2 collegiate USA teams. Actually, I'm lying. 3. It was a red, a white, and a blue. So altogether, it was probably about 36 girls altogether. Yeah. So 36 out of however many tried out, I was one of the 36.
This your sophomore year?
Sophomore year. Going into my junior year because we didn't start training until that summer.
USA team.
USA collegiate team. And then here's the kicker, because the USA collegiate team is an honor. It's a big deal. So we get all the way to summer. In Colorado Springs training. We play on this tournament called the Adult National Team, and then you also travel a little bit and play like other teams. At the end of the summer, the USA coach at the time came up to me and she said, I'm going to keep you so you because it was the end of May, you were there the whole time, and then you go back to school or home or whatever. She came up to me and she said, I'm going to keep you here and you're going to train with us all summer, and I'm taking you with the USA team, like the big girls. So it's like the JV and the varsity.
Right.
I'm keeping you. You're going to
Really?
stay with, I'm like, I don't know why she picked me. But I stayed there all summer, trained with USA. I traveled with them to the World Grand Prix, the Pan American Games. And these were the girls that played in the Olympics the very next year.
It's amazing what sports can do for you.
It's crazy. All these opportunities, I'm like,
None of this was planned.
at all. So, and she only kept, out of those 36 girls, she kept, it was 3 of us that traveled with the actual team. So the whole summer, when usually, in USC, you're back training, summer classes, I didn't do any of that summer. I was with USA the whole year.
Traveling.
Man. Yeah. Playing in major tournaments, just like.
So how did the parents feel about this, though?
They was just like, go.
Yeah,
They
that's
didn't,
good, though.
That's real good.
I mean, I had to get a passport for the first time. I had to get help with that. I didn't know what to do.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were like, and anything they told them, and they were sending all this info through my college coach, so she was like, Shonda needs a passport. My mom was like, what do we need to do to get her a passport? So we got that taken care of, and I was going from May all the way through. I showed up like 3 days before preseason, so like August 3rd or 4th or something.
And you're like 20, 21? Wow.
So during this time, now like when you stand out above everybody else, right? Was any jealousy coming in?
If there was jealousy, I didn't see it.
Okay.
My best friends to this day, they never treated me any differently. There was one girl on the team that I felt like maybe was a little jealous.
You ain't got to say her name. You good.
Yeah, I won't. But I had also taken her spot my freshman year. So I think she just kind of, from the beginning.
That could be a form of competitiveness. Or,
yeah, like you ain't going to take my spot, but I did.
Yeah.
But other than that, the girls on my team were very supportive. I never felt like they treated me any differently.
Yeah.
So coming back from that trip, how did it change you as far as a volleyball player?
And this is where, at this moment, is where I felt this is it. I think the training at such a high level all summer and traveling all parts of the world to play. I mean, we were in Japan, Thailand, we were everywhere.
Right.
I came back my junior year and killed it. I mean, I was shocked at myself because I knew the training was really good. You see, it was hard, and Colorado Springs, I can't breathe. And then coming back, going into preseason, just dominating, basically.
So you said training, right? Mm-hmm. So what do you recommend for somebody that's just starting out, just in volleyball, to a college athlete? So how would the training be different?
I mean,
let's do this way. My 12-year-old daughter, say that you trained before, and you train in a high school,
right?
You're coaching that now, and to the college level where you coached before. So
I think first kids have to understand that you got to take it serious. Like it's not. I think when you're young, you still need to have a little bit of fun with it, right? Like ain't nobody recruiting you at 12.
Okay.
I mean, maybe, but the seriousness of the recruit part doesn't start until like probably your 14th year. So I do think there's still some fun to be had.
Okay.
But I think when you have those like off seasons, downtime, you still got to be training. And I'm talking like, once again, not at 12 maybe, but once you start going into high school, it's got to be you got to be in the weight room. You got to be taking those extra reps in the gym. If you want to hire someone to do privates, I think that's helpul too.
Shonda Cole do private. Private lessons.
I wasn't even trying to plug
we'll put it at the bottom of the
hashtag train.
But honestly, all that stuff that you see like NFL players, NBA players doing, you kind of need to be doing a little portion of that into like high school as well. Like you got to be training. You got to make it hard for your coach to take you off the course. You can't just finish, your season in college or high school and then just take a break. Because everybody else is in the gym getting better. So when you show up and you're wondering why you're not better, well, you ain't did nothing.
Right.
So I think when you're younger, still have some fun with it, but as you start to get to the ages where colleges are recruiting you, you got to be in the gym. You got to, get those extra touches in and then go from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's junior year. You dominating.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
Senior year.
Senior year. I'm assuming that's just keep.
Did you do anything between your junior and senior year?
Went back to USA.
USA.
They invited me back.
Okay.
Yeah. I like I said, my junior year, it was, my numbers at the NCAA were, here's the funniest part. Our team wasn't doing that well. My numbers were crazy. So my numbers were up there with the girls that were on the teams that were like ranked top 10, but I was on a team that like where we struggled a little bit. So people, I guess, took notice of that. And so they invited me back. So I did USA a second summer in a row, going from junior year going into senior year. Same thing, came back. In junior year, my numbers went crazy. Senior year, it was like I was the only person on the team.
Really?
and I don't mean that. My teammates love y'all, but like I was getting every single ball. But my coaches were
Capital T.
I'm trying to remain as humble as possible, but also be honest.
It is what it is, you know.
In the Hall of Fame for it.
Right.
I mean, my setter was throwing me the ball everywhere. And at this point, I was a 6 rotation pin, so I never came off the floor. I was getting set in the back row, front row.
5 set games, you going the whole.
I'm going off. In a 5-set game, I was averaging like 70 to 80 attempts. That's a lot. I'll give you a little bit more. So I remember in particular, we were playing Georgia my senior year, and we beat them in 3. In a 3-set match, most people will have about 10 to 12 kills as a left side, because the way the game is set up, majority of the balls will go to the outside hitter because that's just how the game is played. I won't go into details with out of system and stuff like that, but you just get the most of the balls. In a 3-set match, I had over 30 kills.
And what was the average?
Like 10 to 12.
That's like
D.
Got you saying it now.
But I also remember I wasn't coming off the floor.
Right.
So I'm in the back row. I'm still the first option as a back row attack. Like my setter and my coaches were not playing games. They said, give the ball to her.
In your mindset during that time, you have no doubt.
Give it to me. That's right.
I would look at my setter.
That's right.
If I got blocked, you best believe I'm looking at her and be like, set me again.
Give me again.
Set me again.
So my question is, like, I don't know this. So you put in all this work, like from, in high school, middle school, whatever. What are you working for after college, though? So, like, what's the end goal with volleyball after college?
When my senior year rolled around, I didn't know professional volleyball was a thing. Once again, still fairly new to. Remember, I'm only playing for 4 years now. Didn't know professional volleyball was a thing after college. I'm preparing to get my degree and go teach in the classroom. My coaches came to me and was like, "Hey, I got agencies reaching out to us about you." I'm like, "What?" I honestly, like, what are you talking about? What agency? Like, I'm thinking like commercial. I don't know what y'all talking about. And they're like, "No, people want to represent you to go play professional volleyball in Europe." So I'm like looking into it, talking to my coaches, trying to figure out like what exactly all this is and all this means. And once I figured out what it was and like how all of it works, then I was like, I can make money for a living doing this. So the end goal when you leave, you can go back and do USA stuff, or you can go play professional volleyball overseas. Yeah.
So USA is that considered professional?
Not really. It's more like I guess you would say kind of like semi-pro, because they don't compete. Now they have professional leagues in the US. They just started that.
Okay.
But when I was going through college and after college, there was no pro leagues here. So USA was just your way to train to try to make the Olympic team.
Gotcha.
So
when you finished your career at USC, what records, if you can name them all, did you have?
Now this is the part where it's like I really am. I don't know.
Oh.
To be honest with you, I'm like I hold a lot, but I don't know. I don't really pay attention. And even in school, I didn't pay attention to like that stuff as much. I would probably say kills, total kills per set. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
All that.
You got some on?
I mean, I don't want to miss out on anything.
Look, I don't know.
I finished career first all time in kills per set, points per set, attacks, and second in kills. And I had the numbers beside them, but I mean,
something like
I can sit here.
So you played overseas? Mm-hmm. How long did you play overseas?
7 years.
How was it? Was that a difficult decision? Because I guess now you're getting put into the you travel with USA.
Yeah.
So
So the going over there wasn't necessarily a thing. It was all the other stuff that I was like, how is this gonna work? Like I'm going in a foreign country by myself. I ain't got teammates, the language barrier, everything.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the travel that scared me. It was like, once I'm over there, how's all this gonna work? You know?
I mean, it worked for 7 years. So
I saw a couple of interviews, and they were one particular. He was speaking Spanish, but you responded in English, and I was thinking, like, was that like that's how it was?
I'm fluent in Spanish.
Oh. Man.
But in that interview, I just remember being like, I'm not going to speak. I'm just going to say the interview in English.
You learned Spanish prior to moving on?
No. I actually took French.
I took French too.
Oh, do you speak French as well?
A little bit, but I can't remember. I was in my first year overseas after college. I was in Spain for 9 months. So I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I had to learn or I couldn't get by.
Yeah.
So I forced myself to learn Spanish, and because I was there so long and I played in some other Spanish-speaking countries, I just learned it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
threw a curveball on that one.
I can speak Spanish.
I speak fluent English. So we did 7 years in the pros, right?
7 years in the pros.
So any challenges up to this point playing in the pros that really, made you Shonda? Like, or that you overcame to be able to accomplish some things?
Listen, my first year, I was in Spain in a city called Benidorm. It's right on the Mediterranean. And I'm not a crier. The first month and a half I was there, I called my parents crying every day. And that cell phone bill was high because I didn't know how to navigate. I mean, I was supposed to have a translator that never really translated. So like, I'm in practice. Imagine being in a practice where the coach is telling people what to do in a language you don't know. And I'm just sitting there, and I would have to sit back, watch the drill go once through before I could do it. And they would try. It wasn't like they were trying to not tell me. But what I had to realize also was I was 22 going on a professional team where like this is these women that are on this team, this is their job. They're not playing around. They're at practice, work hard, go home to their families. I'm used to college where you go to practice, go to class, come hang out with your friends. Right. So it was all business for them. So I was over there young, didn't know the language, calling my mom, and I want to come home. Like but what kept me was that money.
That'll do it.
Change it up.
I was like, I gotta stick this out. But it was hard. It was a struggle. Like, I didn't even know how to get to the grocery store. So I'm like asking people. I remember I would go home.
Wasn't no iPhones back then.
No. So I would have to go on my little old laptop that my parents put their money together to get me a laptop to go overseas and write down how to say stuff and then take it to practice and be like, ¿Dónde estás?
Wow.
Yeah. And figuring out just literally how to get around, how to survive, how to be on a team with my setter. That year was 37 years old. I was 22. She was a woman. She had kids. She was married. And so, those women, that was really their job. And I just wasn't used to that. I was ready to go home.
What switched that for you to where you realized, okay, this is a job. Let me get serious.
When someone came to the team, didn't live up to the expectations, and they fired her. They sent her back home. Yeah. I was like, this is for real. If I don't perform, I could be going home.
You won't be getting that money.
Contract or not, they're going to send you home, right? So I was like, I got to take this. And I took it serious, but I didn't know how serious. I thought once you're on the team, you're on the team. In college, a long time ago, you signed that letter of intent. You locked in for 4 years. Now, there it's like you're on contract, but if they don't like how you're performing, you can go.
How do they treat professional volleyball over there? Are you well known? Can you go to the store and people recognize you or not necessarily?
It's different. Europeans are very, and I wouldn't even say Europeans. I mean, even in Asian countries where I play, like Japan, like they are into volleyball, very much so.
I think we're catching on though. I think U.S. is catching on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you saw the Nebraska game and the
crazy.
football.
I saw that.
Yeah,
that's insane, right? But they have like billboards with your picture on it. They even put your pictures on the side of the car they give you in your contract. Yeah, it's a big deal. But you get used to it. It's not like I had to have security.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's a big deal, but I can still walk around. Yeah.
So I see you won the league championship 2010, finals MVP in 2013.
Yeah.
So you were from college to professional.
Yeah.
You've always exceeded.
I would say so. I would say so.
So it's 7 years overseas. And after those 7 years, what did you do?
So my very last year of playing overseas, I had attended. I had worked a camp at USC the summer before that, and I met the coach who was there at the time, and I was like, he's like, "Oh, you're Shonda," because it wasn't the same coach that coached me. It was a different coach. He's like, "Oh, you're Shonda. Very nice to meet you. What are your plans?" I was like, "Well, I would like to get into coaching at some point, but I don't know when that's going to be." We exchanged contact information, and my body was so burnt out from that at that last year. I mean, I was taking anti-inflammatories like crazy because my knee, I mean, you know how it is. I decided after that year I was going to be done playing. I was like, this is it. And you miss a lot of family stuff because you're gone so long. I was missing my nieces and nephews growing up, birthday parties, holidays. It was just a lot. So I was like, okay, I think I'm going to be done. And this is how God works. So I was like, I'm going to try to get into coaching. I just don't know how. The very last day I was overseas before I flew back home, he contacted me, left me a voicemail and said, "Hey, Shonda, we met last summer at camp. I don't know if you're still playing professionally, but we're looking for a volunteer assistant coach at USC. If you or anyone that you know, reach out to me and let me know." And I was like, this is my opportunity, God. Like, this is it.
Right.
Called him back and I said, I'm flying home tomorrow. I was like, and this is 2014 in May. I was like, I'm flying home tomorrow. If you guys are looking for a volunteer, I would love to do it. And he was like, well, come to USC, like get home, get settled. We set up a meeting for me to go. And it wasn't really an interview. He just took me to lunch with like the rest of the staff, and we talked about, all that stuff. And then he literally, right after it was over, was like, we love you. If you want to be the volunteer assistant coach, it's all yours. I moved to Columbia in August and started my coaching career. Yeah. So,
coaching.
Yeah.
You're coaching now, so you're at Gray right now. So how was USC?
It was good. So I was there for 9 years. So 2014, I started my volunteer assistant position. And right time, right place. I was there learning how to scout and I was used to scouting at the professional level, but just learning the college side of things, not as a player, but as a coach. Once that season was over in fall of 2014, the other assistant that was there at the time was doing part-time with our beach program and indoor. He decided to go full-time beach, which opened up a full-time assistant position. I was there. The coach at the time, same thing, was like, if you want it, it's yours. And I was like, of course, I'll take, this is great. So I did that for 9 years, and I was under the head of 3 different head coaches while I was there, which hardly ever happens, but I'm grateful to be stayed on staff all that time. So it was good. Learned a lot, learned it from a different perspective.
I feel like it's going somewhere else right now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you, coming from playing overseas, my main job as the volunteer coach was to mentor the girls, learn the ins and outs of the program, and also play in practice. Remember, I'm a competitor.
That's right.
So I would get in practices and just get on these girls. I'm used to the professional level where you do your job. If a ball goes past me, I know my libero is going to take that ball. Yeah. These balls are falling and people missing blocking assignments, and I'm getting on them. But this is where I learned how to coach. I couldn't do that. They don't receive it well.
Right.
And I'm coming from a way different level. So I had to kind of scale back a little bit in my coaching style. But just learning all of that for 9 years, I learned a lot.
What got you to Gray?
Are we good?
What got you to Gray?
So
No, hold on. Okay, you at Gray.
I'm at Gray.
Now, you got married when?
When did we get married? 2018. 2019.
You sure?
We got engaged in 18.
Okay, all right.
Married in 19. Yeah.
But okay, so at USC, go 9 years. Mm-hmm. What's the point that made you realize you wanted to go, or was it that happened?
So the first 5 or 6 years I was at USC, it was just me and Brandon. We were dating, then we got married, and it was just us, and then boom, got pregnant. Had a baby. Mm-hmm. Kids change stuff.
They do.
Mm-hmm. And then shortly after our oldest was born, I was pregnant again the very next year.
Right.
So I was literally pregnant 2 years in a row. Mm-hmm. And then things start to change because not only it's not just me and Brandon anymore where I could travel, recruiting and travel with the team during the season. Now I got to think about 2 little babies, and I was gone a lot. I was gone, with the season, you're traveling from Thursdays to Sundays or Fridays to Sundays or, however the schedule is set up. And then people think in your off season, you get free time. No, that's the grind time because you're recruiting, I was at tournaments every weekend recruiting, sometimes 2 cities in a weekend. And it just got to be a lot. You want to watch your babies grow up.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think so ultimately, Brandon and I sat down and I was like, what do we want the next 5 years of our lives to look like? Take away salaries, what do we want that to look? And I said, I would like to be home more, but I knew staying in college coaching wouldn't allow me to do that. So I was like, a change of pace would be nice, but I was so dedicated to coaching college that I wasn't sure still, so Brandon was already at Gray coaching basketball.
State championship, by the way.
There you go. State champs.
That's right.
And so I was like, you know what? Let me just start doing private lessons. So I started doing my privates, and he asked the principal at the school, can Shonda use the gym just to do a few? Now, at the time, I'm thinking I'm only going to get a few girls to come in here and do privates. Didn't know it was going to start blowing up, and I'm booked every weekend. But he was like, yeah, she can use the gym when she needs it. Just make sure you work around the schedule of basketball.
God working, I'm telling you.
God was working. He will answer those prayers, let me tell you. So as I'm doing privates, he went back to Brandon and said, wait a minute, how is she doing this? Because that's a recruiting violation. I'm like, I'm not in college coaching anymore. Right. So he found out that I wasn't coaching college anymore, and he was like, wait a minute. You think she'd be interested in coaching at Gray? He was like, I don't know. Let me talk to her. So once we sat down and talked about the opportunity, I was like, I'll look into it. I might do that. Because mind you, at the time, I was still getting phone calls to coach at other schools. So ultimately, like I said, we were like, the change of pace would be nice. I could be home with the kids more often. But then this opportunity rolled around, and I was like, you know what? Why not? This will allow me to be home with the kids. My schedule will be flexible, and I can still give private lessons and fulfill that coaching side of things. And then now I'm coaching the volleyball team there at Gray. Because at first it was just the teaching, then it was you're going to teach and coach. So
that sounds perfect.
Yeah,
I agree.
And do you find coaching more rewarding than playing?
Yeah, honestly.
I see that you coached Michaela, and she broke some of your records.
Yeah.
Listen. True story. Go ahead. Go.
Is that more rewarding? Well,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, when you are with the kid from the recruiting process all the way up until they graduate and you see the growth and the success that they have, it's way better than me.
That's dope.
And it's funny is people are like, well, she broke your records. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad. Their records are meant to be broken. Yeah. And that she's a great kid, comes from a great family. And I'm like, yes, I wanted her. I want somebody else to break the records, right. So
cool. Her dad played at South Carolina, Kayla.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we coaching. What's a normal life for Shonda right now? Like, what do you?
During the weekday, waking up at 5 a.m. Got to get up, get dressed before we get the kids up to go to daycare. So Brandon and I kind of tag team that. So we get up, get dressed, get the kids ready. Both of us out the door. We drive separately because now I have practices after school. So I'll drop the kids off in the morning. Go through my day-to-day at Gray. I teach all online classes, so I manage my classes online. So I sit in my office all day and just manage that, which is nice. It's nice. Trust me.
Sound good.
Yeah, I don't have that face-to-face interaction with the kids yet. They still come in my office, and then I have practices after school. Brandon goes and picks up the kids in the afternoon, and then usually after practice is over at like 5:30, 6. If some of the girls want to stay and get extra reps, then I'm home with my family by 6 o'clock. And so that's the routine every day until he starts his season, and then it'll flip-flop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm around. I record a lot of youth sports, and so I'm around a lot of coaches.
Yeah.
Coaches around little kids. And I saw an interview where you talked about a middle school coach you had, Candy
Aubergine.
Yeah, and when I saw that and how bright you got once you started talking to her, I was wondering what made her so special to you, or what did she?
Yeah, and she was my basketball coach. This is before I got into volleyball. I don't know. She knew how to push us. Like she was one of those coaches. She was tough as nails, but it was tough love, right? And so she would just push us. And she was actually the first coach that I had that told me that she was like, "You're gonna be big time." And then this is 6th grade where you can't even play. So I was the manager in 6th grade for basketball. And she would let me practice with the team. And she would just hype me up all the time and be like, "You're going to be big." And at 6th grade, I'm like, "No, I'm not." Right. But she just, and I appreciated the tough love. Like some of the other kids were just like, "She's so mean. She's so mean." No, I loved it. It didn't bother me at all. But she is the first person that I think saw the potential in me as a coach, or coming from a coach, and she just, I don't know, something about her. She's different from all my other coaches.
Wow.
Yeah, Candy Aubergine.
Man, I really feel like we can sit here for another hour.
I do too.
Yeah,
but we running low on time.
I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot.
And
too.
we ain't even said that. That's good. We'd rather hear you talk than hear us talk.
Yeah, I think this is man, this has been
good, right?
Too good,
I know, right?
Yeah. I didn't expect this. Troy kept saying like, "Man, you're gonna enjoy this. It's gonna be a good interview." I was like, "Okay."
I found out some stuff that I didn't know. So
I've enjoyed it. Thank y'all for having me.
I think I'm gonna have my daughter try out for volleyball next year.
You should. It's a fun sport.
It is.
Troy into it now.
I love it.
Yeah.
I told him I was telling them I'd rather go to volleyball games than go to football games.
Yeah, and me and my daughter talked about it. She does cross country. She was like, she brought up. She was like, I kind of want to do volleyball, but it's the same. They do the same season.
Yeah.
But I think her friends do cross country.
Oh.
So when you start talking about that, I was like, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah.
What do you see your boys doing?
Honestly, everybody's like, "Oh, they're gonna be D1 this year." I'm like, honestly, I just want them to get a good education. And will I be a little disappointed if they don't play sports? Probably. Yeah. But I want to see them succeed in whatever it is that they want to do. If that's music, if that's, I don't care.
Top 3 accomplishments. Would being a mom be 1 or 2?
Absolutely. Hall of Fame is up there, but I think being a mom is like, it's tiring, but it's like rewarding at the same time. So I would say being a mom is definitely number 1. Being inducted into the Hall of Fame is up there. And
third woman ever, right?
Third woman or third volleyball player from USC. Yeah. But I was the youngest that ever got inducted. I don't know what 3 would be.
You married, right?
Wife. Brandon, don't listen to this.
And Brandon played ball with you. He played basketball.
He played basketball.
Basketball, okay.
Yeah.
So we both went to Silver Bluff, or we both went to Jackson Middle School, Silver Bluff, USC.
Did you go to Red Cliff too?
I went to Red Cliff. So we all
family ties.
All through.
Family ties. Yeah. Man, it's been an honor to have a legend.
Appreciate you, Shonda.
Thank you. I appreciate
Shonda
y'all.
Cole Wallace.
That's what you should put on the caption.
No, I appreciate y'all having me.
I would like to do this again. I mean, I know we went through the story, but this was.
Anytime.
This was perfect.
I was telling someone this is the first time in my life in a long time where I've been able to plan my weekends, like stuff to do versus it being like scheduling around volleyball. So Sunday, I'm like, I can do it on Sunday. I have my privates in the morning and this.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm down for it.
We're going to have plenty more Gamecock alumni. I think I'm going to get Natasha Hastings on in a few.
She would be great.
So we got some more that we're going to bring through.
Yeah.
Man. All right. Well, that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Shonda.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. This is fun.
Now they're going to kick us out.